We are now live, Ryder. Good evening,
Wow.
everybody, and welcome to Open Minds live chat show. We are about an hour late, but that's okay due to technical difficulties, but that's part of life. And welcome, Ryder Lee, to Open Minds.
Hello, Gloria. Sorry, it's super. Well, it's not really that early. I just worked really late last night
You
and
did
I
work
wanted
very
to
late.
sleep a little bit. And
Yes. Good job. I
yeah.
love you, Ryder. Good job. I do.
Mm.
But now we've got over that. So, guys, we should be going live. We are live on YouTube and on my page on Facebook and Open Minds. We're live as well. Obviously, you can always watch this in a rerun. So, Ryder, I invited you on to be my guest for 2022. We've had an exciting year, especially linking up with each other. We've all met new people on this new timeline we're in, and people we can resonate with, and more so you than me. And putting the old timeline beside us, what do you see happening now? I mean, you've got so many, not dreams, but creative projects, what you're going to do. So, what's next? And how has going through the past 2 years awakened you to the realization that you're a lot more than, let's just say, the sheeple?
Well, I mean, there's a couple of things. I think collectively, it's going to be a really rough year, 2022. Um, a
For
lot of
some,
things, a lot of different things are going to happen. Supply chains are going to break down.
mhm.
There's going to be a lot of discord and mm, I think that
For
it's
some,
honestly probably going to be worse than 2020 collectively. And that's not trying to be pessimistic,
no.
but I mean, you just can't shut down the entire world for 2 years and not
Mhm,
expect any kind of repercussions,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
Like economically, um, politically, everything is
Mhm.
just going to keep unraveling
Yeah.
collectively. But personally, I think that uh, I'm in like a huge upswing right now. Like I went through a lot of different things in 2021. I felt like toward the end of the year, like 2 or 3 months ago, like a lot of things were happening in my
Mhm.
personal life that was really hitting me down, and it was like one thing after another
Mm.
thing. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
it
I know
just
the
it
feeling.
just
Yeah.
came out. It just came out of the sky like a ton of bricks,
Hmm.
and like it felt like it all happened all at one time. But that's the process that we have to go through, Gloria. You know what I mean? Like we just don't have one awakening. There's many awakenings
Yeah,
through our entire lives. There's many
yeah.
struggles, and just because you think that you're enlightened and the spiritual and like all this
Yeah.
kind of stuff doesn't mean that bad things aren't going to happen and negative things in your reality, right? It's just all in how you deal with them.
Yeah.
And if you deal with them in the proper manner, then things tend to work out,
Hmm.
and things uh, tend to get better as time goes on. But it is rough being in the moment. Like, I was really down, Gloria. Like
Yes,
I was
you
like
were
calling you,
really
and I'm
down
like,
a good few months ago. You had gone, and I remember, talking to you saying, you're going to get through it. I've been where you've been. You're going to get through it. And when you're in that space, you think, no, but I've got to say, Ryder, from that point, you worked so hard on yourself. You worked so hard to change the way you perceive things. You did the work on you, and you got through it. I mean, now it's gone. That was then, this is now. And it flipped. By the end of the year, it flipped. Only because we all have to do these, the dark nights of the soul, even though I had decades of it. We all have to do this work and to change our perceptions, to have a realization it's not what we think we are, to have a realization if I keep resisting, I'm just creating more of the same. But you were at the lowest. I mean, I was so concerned. I messaged Chris. I was really concerned. That's why I was always texting you, phoning you. Love you, hearts, hearts. But you did it, not me or anyone else. You did it, and then it flipped. So for the audience, this is something I hope will inspire you. We've all had what Ryder went through, but it was your dark night of the soul for a few months, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was, and that's the thing about life. Like it normally like catches you off guard a lot of times, and that's what I felt was going on.
Hmm.
Like all these things just came out of left field and slapped
Hmm.
me across the face.
It did.
And it's weird because I kind of kept the positive outlook a
Hmm.
lot of the times, especially like online and like doing my show. Like I still like
Yeah,
did my show because that's very important to me,
absolutely.
that I
Hmm.
do that, and then I tried to like immerse myself in my work more. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I felt like that helped a lot. And then a lot of people, in this community, such as yourself and Chris and other people like that I speak to almost on a daily basis. It's really weird. Like I have more friends that I feel like that are going to have my back and is there for
Yeah,
me, no matter what, online,
yeah.
than I actually have in real life. I
I hear
mean,
you.
I
I
mean,
hear
it's
you.
all real life. Like the online
Yeah,
stuff is still
yeah,
real life and stuff,
yeah,
but like I meant that like I know that that are around me like every day,
yeah. I'm with
you
you.
know?
Yeah.
And I mean, and it's a beautiful thing, and I love it. There's just something about like people that in like I know you, I know Chris. I've met Chris personally. We hang out like all the time. Like Corey, I've met Corey. I've hung out with him, and there are people that I've met in real life that I talk to online. But it just seems like people, like friends that I had before
Hmm.
I started this show and created all these kinds of connections with you and like other people.
Mm.
It seems like that those people really they don't really care about you. I don't know if that really makes sense, and I'm probably not saying it right,
No,
but
I
as
think
soon
you.
as
I
something
think.
happens, like
Yeah,
they're one of the first people to like jump off. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I do totally understand what you're saying. In my case with you, if I didn't hear from you, then I was sending you messages, and like I was picking up, just picking up, picking up, picking up. But what I'm trying to say, how I perceive it, and it's just my truth, is as we individually, all of us, because the same happened for me. It'll be a year ago next month that I started Open Minds, and then later on the podcast, and it wasn't really until the podcast come out inception um, that I connected with Chris first. Then it was you, yeah. But
Yeah.
all through that and all through me, I was doing the work on myself. I wasn't putting my attention on the external. I kept focusing on my shows, and I kept doing the work. And I didn't get distracted. And because, and I'm saying that like for you, because you started to change your energy or your frequency, whatever we want to call it, you then attracted. We all attracted like-minded, yeah. And like when I've never met such a humble person as Chris Matthew. I've never, I've never
Yep.
met such a humble male. Males normally are arseholes, sorry guys. But humble, the humbleness, yeah, and wanting to assist. And then I met you, another one. Then I met another one. And I think that's what you're relaying to. How did that happen? Is because as we change our frequency, whatever way terminologies, I hate them now, as we have each, let's say, awakening and realization to what's going on, hidden truths, hidden history, who we are, then we tend to then create the reality that benefits our spiritual journey. So I think, but there is, I want to bring up this, what we call the dark night of the soul, this hard period, and billions have gone through it for 2 years. But in your case, I saw you coming from the lowest of everything taken away from you. There was nothing left. I think at some point even your hope had gone, but you never gave up on you. You valued yourself, and this is for the audience. Please listen. If you're going through any sort of traumatic experience, you never gave up on you, and that was the work. And then you attracted, and it was online for all of us, Ryder, all of us. It's the same thing. And then eventually you start to meet in person. I've met one, I think about four people in person now, physically, after meeting online in the past year. And you've met Chris, you've met Corey. I mean, you met Chris before at the one of your what was it, something, one of the big, I can't remember, what was it.
UFO Megacon.
Yeah, and that's where I found you and Chris. I don't watch it. I never watch any UFO programs because, I don't. But that's where I found you. So can you see how that rolled out for you as you done the work? The more, the more, the more. That's my truth. I don't know if it resonates with you.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I really set out to do with my show. Was I felt like that I manifested all of that, you
Yes, you
know,
did. Yeah. Yeah.
and that's what I wanted, and I'm never going to turn my back on that. I'm going to keep pushing forward and keep going and keep
Mm,
talking to people and
mm.
keep making connections because this is what I love.
Yeah.
This is my
It's
favorite
like a
thing to do is
passion,
have
isn't it?
these kinds of conversations like
Yeah.
right now with
Yeah.
you, Gloria. This is like
Mm,
this is it. This is like the pinnacle, right?
yeah.
And I
Mm,
love it, and I eat it up, and I enjoy talking with people about these kinds of topics because this
mhm,
is what really brings a fire to my soul. Because
mm,
it's very difficult to have these kinds of conversations out in the real world,
mm,
and that's what I held back from myself a lot of
mm.
time, like whenever I was growing up
Yeah.
and later on in life in my teenage years and then my
Mm,
early 20s, like
yeah.
I felt like that I was 100% completely alone,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't speak about the things that I really wanted to
Yeah.
talk about,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
I'm with you. I'm with you.
that was getting me down like really
Mm,
hard. And I was like, I need to do something where I can, get this kind of stuff off my chest and communicate with people about these kinds of topics that I'm interested in. And that's where the show really, sprung up. And I was like, hey, like I really need to do this to not only help myself first and foremost, but and if somebody else resonates and someone
yeah.
else really likes it and
Mm,
someone else
mm,
really enjoys it,
yeah.
then and they get something out of it, then
Absolutely.
perfect.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Then
Yeah.
I think that you know I've done my part then,
I
and
mean, it's it also, it's like a, for me it was like a passion, and the more that I linked into other, and like bringing podcast hosts onto my show, different podcasts, but all doing the same as I'm doing, as you're doing, and building up. And for me, that my truth is that I'm in a different timeline now. That's like, it can go on, but the reason I'm raising this is because obviously in that timeline that we can still observe at the moment, and others may still be struggling through, how we got through that, and this, and the tools that we used ourselves to do the work to get through that, whatever comes in 2022, we will get through that. We will get through it. And the more that we keep connecting, because in the new timeline, that's the only way I can describe this, is we are, because we are all creators, co-creators, we are manifesting and creating the new timeline and everything that goes in it. In my timeline, there is nowhere for fear, there's nowhere for lack. It's all of abundance, it's all of inspiration, it's all of creativity, it's all of compassion, empathy, kindness. helping another, because you damn well know when you hit this timeline, you help another, you help yourself. And the universe just brings it straight back repeatedly. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, it really does, and that's kind of what I've said on my show many a times, that it's
Mm,
not a it's an individual
yeah, you have. Yeah,
it's an individual awakening, and it's an individual ascension, or whatever you want to call it. I don't
yeah,
like the
yeah.
word ascension, because
No,
they've twisted that and they've turned it
yeah,
into
yeah.
like
Mm,
a that we're all going to ascend collectively into a 5D reality and like all
mm,
that bunch of nonsense. And
yeah,
it's not a physical ascension, it's an after death ascension, but that's a different topic.
yeah.
um
I call it a spiritual apocalypse. A spiritual apocalypse. The deconstruction of every belief system you could jolly well think of, or and all of the above. So yeah, I resonate with you on that one. I resonate with you on that one. Mm.
well, I mean, that's the thing though, is that we have to do the work individually, and whenever we
Yes.
do the work individually, and we heal ourselves and we heal our traumas and we
Mhm.
take care
Mhm. Yeah.
of us on a personal level, we're also healing and helping out the
Yeah.
collective, because we are a
Absolutely.
collective consciousness, but
Mm.
we're all one
Mm.
entity, right, collectively, but we're
Mhm.
also separate entities being in physical bodies as well,
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
right? So, and there's been a lot of infiltration into the individual consciousness too,
Mm.
right? Through inorganic life forms, through robotics, through AI, that's created this separation between everyone, and no one
Mhm.
being able to realize and come to the conclusion that we are all one,
Mhm.
right? And that's
I,
been
I,
programmed
I,
that way.
I will agree to disagree there, because I agree that's happening for those that perceive it. But what do we call that? I've got this new, try and find new linguistics. We are the hackers. We hack through that. We hack through that. As much as the AI comes in and the algorithms and does all everything. And I literally don't watch TV or anything else like that. But there are ways around that. And if you know who you are, that's not a threat. It has no power over you. So I see that as we go through doing the work, I can see that appear. But then the more that you do the work on yourself, you've got to have you can't say it doesn't exist, even though we're consciousness having a human experience. It exists in the reality that we're experiencing, so we can't deny it. We're aware of it. In my case, I'm aware of it, but it's of no interest to me. And I find I can hack my way through, if that's the only terminology I can find, hacking the matrix, maybe, um, to get through all the weaves and tunnels, and without fear. I can do this. I always, and the more that like the AI comes in, especially on, when it's doing with technical things, I go, okay, like recently, certain things have happened that I'm being blocked. And I say, okay, there could be another way. And vroom, I find another way. And because we're doing that, we're doing. Hi, Sally. Hi, Gail. Hi, Sue.
Mhm.
I think you got a big fan on the show, Ryder. No communication. Okay, my show, that made you smile, didn't it? Does that make sense to you? How we find alternative ways? We can't go forward in a new timeline with the old consciousness. Yeah, we have to go in with a new. Does that resonate with you? How we go forward?
I mean, it does to a certain degree, Gloria, but the awareness has to be there. We have to have awareness of these things, because if
Yeah,
there's no awareness there, then we don't have the opportunity to make any kind of changes,
yeah. No, I hear
right?
you. I hear you.
So if that's actually happening, then I wouldn't want to know about it, so then I can create a defense around it, right?
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
whenever you have your defense, then because if you're going in blind on anything
Yeah.
and you
No,
don't
I
have
agree.
all of the information
Hmm.
about it, then
Hmm.
you're going to get caught up in some
I
kind of
agree.
way.
I agree. You need to do it. Let's say you need to. For me, I don't know what it's like in American English. I would call it a risk assessment. Plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way to Z. So I'm aware of what's going on. I'm aware of future predictions, what could happen possibly. and nothing's set in stone in this reality. We create the reality. Being aware, you can't be blind, is a possibility. But then the more that I've gone through that, every time what, let's say, other people perceived as a fear and disaster, I didn't perceive it that way. And because I didn't have that perception, as what it's a joke, basically, then it never touched me. Does that make sense to you?
No, it does. And I think that see, a lot of things that I talk about, I think that people are just because I say something doesn't mean that I
Mm,
believe it. I'm actually saying it so other people
absolutely, yeah.
get the awareness of it, right?
Yeah. Mm,
And they understand it. I mean, I'm obviously not going to let it affect me in
mm,
my reality because
mm, mm,
I know how it works,
mm-hmm.
right? And that's a big problem in a lot of these communities is that people are just using they're basically fear porn, right? They're
Yeah.
saying that
Mm,
all this stuff is going to happen, blah 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 blah, and then they don't offer any kind of solution behind it.
absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
That's when you know that they're not really for humanity, right? Whenever they're
Yeah.
like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, this kind of disaster is going to happen, this thing's going to happen,
Mm,
blah
mm.
blah 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 blah, and then they don't offer any more than that.
No, they don't offer a
Yeah,
plan B. And I'm going to add on to that also. I've noticed what I call the false opposition. Does that make sense to you? The
yeah.
false opposition. And over the past year, and people contact you or things like that. So you've got this whatever's going on in that timeline, and then I call them the love and lighters, and this lot are coming to save you. And I'm going, this is a false opposition. Well, I'm self-realized. um, I don't need an external. You see what I'm saying? But many people trying to come out, they're being pulled to the. But that's the journey they're supposed to be. So I'm aware of the false opposition. Obviously, you're aware of them too. When they start chatting to you, and you think, nah, no, this is not no. I'm going to go from one belief system to another belief system. No, yeah, the false opposition.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, unfortunately, in this community, and they want to skip like a bunch of steps, right? Like they
Yeah.
want to just go straight to like love and light.
Yes.
They want to skip.
Yeah.
They want to go to the top floor, and then
Yeah.
they're skipping all the other floors that
Yeah.
involve the
Yeah.
spiritual development of the soul,
Yeah.
right? We have to go through all of those things and then we can eventually
Yeah.
get to the top, but a lot of people just want to go straight to the top and it
Mm.
never works out.
It's ego, and,
Like,
and I would say it's the identity of the ego. The ego's saying, I'm not going to do the work on myself. I'm not going to humble myself. I'm not going to take responsibility for my actions. Because going through the process, Ryder, it's about taking responsibility and accountability for what you do. And many people I know, and like yourself included, if going through your journey, I am, you are, there's no higher or lower level. But when you're on that path of self-realization, um, and you're sort of hacking into the matrix, the illusion, when they come in, we recognize them immediately. They don't even have to chat too much, and you go, vroom, you just know that because you've left that behind yourself, because you recognize in them, that was me before. I'm certainly going to be pulled back because we were all. I always say about what I say the arseholes. I was the biggest arsehole ever on this planet at one point. I won Oscars for being an arsehole. So, but that is, the audience need to be aware as well. If they're not, are not preaching to, the enlightened, but they're also not just these false oppositions, how they work. And what I become aware of is these groups setting up for many human beings that are really going through the trauma of the past 2 years and are starting to awaken, yeah, to the truth, realizing, oh, I got a choice. That's the first step. and they're coming in and trying to take them to the false opposition. We are the truth, love and light, and all the rest of it. And the Savior's coming this way, that way, that way. And then you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do like 60 hours of meditation and all the bullshit that comes with it. So just making, if the humanity has awoken from my truth, but I wanted to bring that in, trying to really talk about, because of the amazing work you've done on yourself, I wanted to sort of share not only what we go through, but the techniques, like you just said, and solutions, possible solutions that may resonate with anyone in the audience. As I want to be like Ryder Lee. How did he get through that? Do you know what I mean? So this is why I'm raising this topic, the new timeline, in 2022, because Ryder, you can either stay in the other timeline, 2021, 2020, or you can hit the new timeline and say, fuck it, I ain't doing this shit no more. I'm creating my own reality, and I'm going to live the way I want to live. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, I mean it's a difficult process. Like none of this is easy. You know what I mean? It takes practice, patience, and persistence. That's really the
Yeah.
the
P word, patience.
yeah, the three P's. That's really
Yeah.
what a lot of it comes down to, and not giving up,
Yeah.
right? Because a lot of people, they want to give up whenever the going gets tough, right? They want to
Yeah.
jump ship, right?
Yeah.
Right when something happens that they don't like, they want to get off as soon as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just keep doing what you love, and
Yeah.
be good and be kind to people. That's
It's
and keep
simple.
doing things for others, and don't worry
Yes.
about like what they think, and be your own individual, and be as weird as you want to be. Do the things that make you happy, and smile and
Yes.
laugh. Like laughter is like one of the
Oh,
biggest keys in all this thing. Like
yeah.
put it like whenever you go out, like just put a smile on and smile at people. People don't even hardly smile anymore. Not only do they not smile, when they smile, you can't see
You
them
can't even
smile.
see they're smiling. That.
So
Yeah, I was going to jump in there about the humor before we move on. That thing about laughter is really, really important for my truth. When it all started in 2020, when it really kicked off, um, for the first 3 months, do you know what I did? I sat there and watched all comedy shows. I was in fucking stitches, laughing, laughing, laughing. Every day, comedy shows, comedy shows, comedy shows, because I knew it was what it was. And that laughter, I'm telling you, Ryder, is so important. Switch off your TV, guys. That laughter is so important. I did that. For about 3 months, I watched everything funny you could think of, even stupid funny. I was laughing my head off. So I was keeping myself in the correct energy to get through, let's say, the shock part, if that makes sense. Because the first 3 months was the shock. But I definitely agree with you about humor. Mm.
yeah, it's an important part of being in this reality, because laughter is a vibration, right? and,
Yeah.
and smiling
Yeah.
is a vibration.
Yes.
Like whenever I walk outside, like nowadays I've brought my consciousness to the fact that hardly no one is smiling. Everyone that I see in my reality, even if they don't have a face diaper on, they're not
Yeah.
smiling,
No.
and I try to make it a point whenever I go to the gas station, whenever I go to the grocery store,
Mm.
like
Mm.
I just smile at people,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
I mean,
and
if you call it I love how you Americans call it when they got face diaper. Well, we know that Americans, the word diaper means nappy, but yeah, I get that. However, I got to say, recently, before Christmas, I left the mainland here and I went off to another little island, UK island, and I went on there, and it was a spiritual journey, which will come out later on, a few months' time maybe. And every person I met on this island, apart from the ones with the diapers, um, smiled. And there wasn't many with diapers, by the way, I must tell you, hardly any. And it was good morning. It was so unusual from this mainland island. Um, you were you had to say good morning, hello, hi, smile, and it was like old school back in the day, and it was so familiar to me. I must admit, staff serving with diapers, they were talking, smiling. I couldn't see or I couldn't hear, and then they dropped the diaper because I couldn't hear a word. But the energy was so different on the different island, so light, no fear. There were the odd ones, but I mean, they were like 1 in 50, if that. But it was a totally different energy to hear. So when I went away for the week, um, it was just like I'm in my timeline. There was nothing, Ryder. I was by the sea. I was on the beach at sunrise every day. It was like, I like this timeline. Why the would I want to go back to that one? So, but that just shows you that the smiling at another person, even if they are a negative Nelly or an arsehole, it doesn't matter. They're on their journey too. Keep smiling. It pisses them off actually, because it's like, well, why are you smiling? The world's ending. I wouldn't care if the world ended. I wouldn't give a bleep if the world ended. I don't fear the death. And this is what's out there, the fear of death. So I agree. And I also agree when you said about being kind to people, doing acts of kindness or asking someone, how are you? But that is the work you're doing on yourself when you do that, because it reflects back to you, doesn't it? On this.
It does, and this is what someone explained to me one time, that always be kind and do things for people, but don't put yourself out of the way,
No.
right? Because
Mm-hmm.
that's all that, because if you do that, then you hurt yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And you bring yourself down to their level energetically, right?
Yeah.
Like, this was Robert Maxim. He said this to me. He said, okay, if you're sitting in a schoolroom, right, and you're with a bunch of people and you're in a class, like you're at college or you're in high school or whatever, and the teacher doesn't show up, right? Are you going to stand up and start teaching that class?
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not, because that's not your place, right?
No.
Like, we have to know our place and know the timing of when
Yeah.
to do things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I'm going somewhere to do something and I see someone that needs help, or someone that's struggling or something, I will help them out because I'm on my way to do something
Mm-hmm.
else,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? But going out of your way to do something for someone hurts you just as much.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I
it's
hear what you're
bringing you
saying.
down to a certain level, and that really made a
Yeah.
lot of sense whenever he was talking about it. He explained it way better than I'm explaining it right now, but I really resonated with what he said on that, and
Yeah.
now I've just been doing things when it's time to do them,
Yeah.
right, and
I agree.
knowing your place
Fine.
in the
Yeah.
reality, right.
Yeah. And if anyone in the audience thinks, well, how do you know the time when it's the right? I always say, never do an act, even what you call kindness, if it devalues yourself. If it devalues yourself, then it's not an act of kindness to another or to your own self. Does that resonate with you, Ryder?
100%. That's exactly what I was trying to say, and you just said it in way better words.
No, honest, I haven't just got out of bed first thing in the morning. You have. So, and I've had about more coffees than you've had today. So, but that's how I look at it. And it is spontaneous when that happens. Everything you do not devalue yourself. Um, and that goes for not just the acts of kindness, that goes for on this journey, on this new timeline, which is not on the old timeline. anything you decide to do, as long as it doesn't devalue you. Because the most important person in your reality, your world, is you, the individual you. And that's how I look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, and don't beat yourself up too hard, right? Like,
Easily
because
done, though, Ryder. Easily
we
done.
are our own critics.
Yeah.
We're our hardest critics, and it's like, and
Mm.
it's okay to not do something, right?
Yeah. Mm.
Just just be okay with not doing something. If you
Yeah.
need like a break and you need to lay down or take a
Yeah.
nap or something, don't
Do it.
feel bad about it, because
Yeah.
whenever you feel bad about something and you feel guilty about something,
There you go.
you're creating your own karma surrounding
Yeah.
it,
Yeah. I
right?
agree. I agree with that. You're creating the victim experience. To me, it's an experience. Thoughts are very powerful, and when you say to yourself, oh, for example, oh, I'm stupid, I wish I never did that. There you go. You're devaluing again. You're
Yep.
devaluing you. We all fuck up. We all make mistakes. It's part of the human experience. Yeah. Um, so that is a key point. When you make a mistake, and we all do it, I still make mistakes, still an arsehole now and again, still, human. As long as I'm here, I'm always going to be an arsehole now and again, and, possibly
Mhm.
unintentionally upset somebody. But I don't judge myself no more. Why? Because I don't judge another. Yeah. Um, and that's where you're that people think, well, that's an easy way out. No, it's not, because you're taking responsibility. So if you fuck up, you need to look at yourself. If them energies in you, oh my God, I shouldn't have done it. It's okay. I shouldn't have done it, but I did it. Get over myself. But why did I do it? What's in me? What is that person reflecting back to me that I need to address inside of me? Does that resonate with you, Ryder?
Yeah, I think that everything is a reflection, reflecting back at us, right? Whatever we put out is what we receive. So whenever you're feeling emotional or triggered by
Mm,
someone or something, then
mm,
that's what you need to heal within your own
yeah,
being. And
yeah,
again, that's the awareness that needs to be brought to every
yeah,
situation, and the
yeah.
responsibility that we need to take surrounding that event or whatever it is that we're going through. The perceived
Yeah.
negative, right, is just a perception
Perception.
of
Yeah,
reality. And then whenever you take a step back, you realize that it's you,
yeah.
it's your fault,
Yes,
and you need to take responsibility for it. And whenever
absolutely.
you realize that, then things start to clear up for you on
Mm,
many levels: mental, emotional, spiritual, all of it. Because responsibility is the one of the biggest keys to self mastery, I believe, anyway.
yeah, I agree.
And when you take responsibility, you're healing yourself. And again, just like I was talking about earlier, whenever you
Mm,
heal yourself, you're also healing the collective.
absolutely. Yeah. No, I agree, Ryder. I mean, it's, another way that I sort of perceived it is like, way back, someone would say something, and when you feel that energy, it could be anger, it could be rage, it could be whatever, Trevor, jealousy. And it got to the point of saying, I don't like this feeling, but why am I feeling that? And then you get to the realization that is, how can I put it? It's like, an automatic, controlled belief system. That is how you're supposed to respond. And you to living in a 3D reality, we've got to have polarities, or we never would have had this human experience. But now that's shifted in this timeline is when someone comes, and I love it when people come to try and press my button, because it doesn't affect me. Way back I would have face planted you, yes, of course. That's when I was living in the identity. But when it started to change, and I say, why am I getting angry? They just called me, I don't know, an arsehole. Why? So I realized it was my reaction to another. And so when I reacted, it come back and was back in the loop, repeating the cycle until I started to realize That doesn't define who I am, and what they think of me is none of my business, and I really don't give a fuck anymore. And it wasn't as easy as that. It was a lot of hard work, I have to tell you. You know, so it is true. We are responsible for our reactions as well as our responses. We can walk away, make a different choice.
Yeah, and that's an issue with a lot of people.
Mm.
They're reacting and not responding, right? And
Yeah,
a lot of
it is a
people
reaction.
aren't. They're
Mm.
not listening either, right? We have a bunch of people that are listening to react,
Yeah.
you know, and they're not thinking about their reaction because they're not listening, right?
And
If
go on. No, go on, go on.
um if I completely lost it. Go ahead. I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
that was my fault because I was really getting in with what you were saying. I do apologise. And what I was going to say is, I wanted to add to another one to that is, if you've got someone really deeply set in their belief systems, they're reacting to you because they fear that their belief is wrong, and that's what we all do. Yeah, we've all done that. You know, if I'm not a religious person, so say I had a deep set religion that this is set this way. Why do I have it? Because my society's told me that's the truth, and I've taken on my society's belief wherever I live. And when someone comes up and, like, say it was you, come up to me and say, do you realize, Gloria, that you are a creator God? Then my belief system that was given to me, mine, not mine, would come in and resist you. And
Hmm.
why does it resist? People say, why do they do that? It's because they're in fear, because it's not a true belief, it's just something of somebody else's. Because you can only live your own truth. You can only live your own belief, no one else's. It's none of your fucking business what other people believe. Do you see what I'm saying though? That reaction is, many of them are holding on to, at this point, their belief systems like this, because they think, oh my God, if I lose that, I lose who I am, which means I lose my ego. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, because they've held on to that for so long that it's become a
Mm.
part of their identity, and it's
Yes,
not
yeah,
just with religion; it's with all kinds of different things in our
yeah,
reality. You
yeah,
know, and we're clinging on for dear life because
yeah.
we feel like that if we lose that, then we're going to
Mm,
lose a part of ourselves, and we don't want to
mm.
lose a part of ourselves.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, and that's the hard part of the awakening process, and
yeah.
why it's so difficult for new people that have been indoctrinated with this certain belief system for so
Hmm.
long
Hmm.
to believe something different or even change their perspective on things.
Hmm.
You know, like it's
Hmm.
almost dang near impossible to change a Christian viewpoint that's been
Hmm.
indoctrinated since they've been,
Hmm.
3, 4, 5 years old, right? And they're 35 now. The longer that they're immersed in that
Hmm.
belief system and have regurgitated it over and over and over again and have been listening to preachers and listening to
Hmm.
people, the harder it is to change their perception.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's
I
like that
agree.
with all of it. It's like that with the political viewpoints. It's like that
Hmm.
with certain
It's like that with
doctors. You know what I mean?
with
Like,
ET. It's like that with ET. I got in a taxi one day. It was when your government made their, not, well, what they said was disclosure was a load of BS. And we were talking. I said, "What do you think?" And he said, he was very religious, yeah, very religious. And he turned and said to me that they are demons.
mhm.
They are, and he was going on in this religious scripture, and I didn't respond. I didn't come back at him. But the fact is, I'm, even with ET or sightings of unidentified flying objects, they will say they're demons. Why do they say they're demons? Because their religion has told them they're demons. So the whole point of the timeline now is to have a realization on all topics, like you correctly said, Ryder. We have a choice. We are free to make our own decision, whether our parents, our government, our culture, our community says it should be this way. If it doesn't resonate, we don't have to follow. We all have a choice, don't we?
We do, but the issue is they keep pounding it into our consciousness, right? And they keep shoehorning in the entire thing, like all the time, reinforcing it over and over and over and over again. So even the people that don't believe it and don't think that it's this certain way, surrounding
Mhm.
plethora of topics. I love that word, plethora.
Say
But
it again. Say it again.
yeah,
First thing
plethora.
in the morning. Oh, big word, Ryder.
um, they get you right.
Well,
The people that are on the fence
yeah,
with something,
yeah.
they keep it up over and over and over again until
Pressure
you
on.
get on one side or the other.
Yeah,
It's almost dang near impossible to stay neutral
yeah,
surrounding any topic because they want you on one side of the fence or they want you on the other side of the fence.
yeah,
They
yeah,
want you on, oh, they're all demons, or oh no, they're all here for love and light and protect and
yeah,
heal us and blah
yeah.
blah blah.
Mhm,
When the real
mhm.
truth is really somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. The middle road,
Yeah.
as we all say, the middle road. I mean, I have a thing about, especially in current times, about what's going on. It's one thing after. We all knew it would go like this. And the only reason it's coming one thing after another is because they are aware that humanity has awakened. So they're just throwing all the shit they can, but it's too late. But anyway, apart from that, what I've been doing before my Christmas break, because I had a couple of weeks off over Christmas to rest just for me, go off on holiday, which I did, is I say, my way of saying, well, I tell you what, I want you to turn off your TV for 72 hours, which is 3 days. And I don't want you to read a paper. I don't want you to go on the internet. And 3 days, just be with your family, your neighbors, your friends, argue with your husband, your wife, and your kids, shout. And if you can, get your phone out and video your life, your laughter, your joy, whatever you're doing, any film you want to watch together, just film you for 72 hours, 3 days. Do not watch the news. Do not put the TV on. Do not. After 72 hours, turn the news on, and you will realize straight away that's not my reality. That's full of fear. I've been happy, in love, enjoying the moment, the expression with my neighbors, with my kids, with my partner. And that will bring, I say, will give you the first gap to separate away. So you won't be bothered. I don't care. They can throw all the shit in the world. It's not going to bother me in the slightest. Yeah. Don't care. But that is the advice I give to people. Just turn the fucking TV off for 3 days.
I haven't watched the news in so long, Gloria. I stopped watching the. I never. I don't think I've ever actually in my life, as long as I've been living, which isn't very long, but I'm an old soul, so I feel like I've been here for a really long time.
You done
But
that good there. You're trying to tell me you're so young, Ryder.
don't
Well,
you
you're
love
young.
my baby
Listen, you're
face?
younger than Chris Matthew anyway, so there you go.
But I don't think I've ever turned on the TV in my life and ever wanted to watch the news. I always knew
Mm,
that
no,
it was propaganda and trying to sway people in a certain direction
absolutely.
to
One
get
way
them
or
locked
another.
into a certain perception of reality.
Mm, mm,
And I don't ever watch it. And yesterday I was at work and they had on like CNN or ABC or something.
mm, mm.
And I'm like sitting there just like listening to it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the
Mhm.
most ridiculous amount of propaganda that I have ever heard in my life. It's like
Yeah,
they're not even hiding it anymore. And I
no.
felt, and I instantly, I was cringing so hard.
Mhm.
And everyone is sitting around the TV going, "Ooh, no way! Oh my God, no way that happened! I can't believe
Yeah,
that! Oh, did you hear that? Holy
yeah.
shit!" And I'm like, "No, this is what people do every day on a daily basis. Like I
Yes,
can't imagine
yes. Yeah,
living in that reality
yeah,
at all. Like
yeah,
they're living for the news and living for the TV and living for the media, and they're letting it dictate their life and what they believe. Like
yeah,
I don't know about you, Glory, but I've always been a rebel to the soul. Like I've always been a
yeah.
rebel to the core. Like
You've
I don't like
always been
people
a
telling
rebel.
me what to do ever.
Yes.
You know
No,
what I
no, I
mean?
know that rebel. I know that rebel. I know that rebel. Um, and it's a healthy attribute. But I no, I agree with you. In the old timeline, is this is what they do. I mean, it's still connected slightly. I'm observant of it, and I'm thinking. So you believe? I'm sure if the news, the media come on, or any prime minister or president of any country in the world, and said, right, um, I don't know, there are pink bears on Mars. We just found them. Do you know they'd fucking believe them? They would believe them. They would believe and I keep seeing it. I say, why don't you question it? We're all living in a democracy, so they say, where you can have freedom of choice, or at least a discussion or a debate, like science says this, or political says. I say, really? Well, let's deconstruct that. Let's have a conversation and prove to me, and you may just prove to me that is the right way and the right choice I should make. But we can't even have that discussion. And if that's not a red fucking flag, I don't know what is.
Yeah,
That
they
you
could be like
can't
glory.
discuss.
They could come out on the news and be like, "Yeah, how you cure the boogie boos is you stick your finger up your butt and then up your nose at the same time with two fingers like this, and at the same
And
time,
it'll
and then
work. And
you
it'll work.
cough twice, and then
Yeah,
you sneeze at the same time, and then
yeah,
you're like cured."
yeah.
And then
No,
people would be walking
I
around
hear
with their
you.
finger up their butt all the time.
Yeah. No, I hear you, Ryder. And it's not to belittle or ridicule. It's about what you recognize. Every human being on this earth has a free choice to be. So if you choose to live in fear, that's your free choice. I would not my business. None of my business what you do. And if I choose not to live in fear, that's none of your business that I choose to do that. I have friends of all different, the boogie boogies and non boogie boogies and all the whatever you talk about, you know what I mean? And all of us, we just chat together. We don't have any division. We don't have any anything. And there's no problem. That's my timeline. That's my timeline. And the more I'm hearing in this timeline as more people awaken is, well, I've done some boogie boogies a couple of times. You think I'm going to do boogie boogies again? No way. I'm out of here. It's not happening. Boom, they wake because they're seeing it. They're seeing. I mean, I first saw it when it first happened. I just had this awareness. Oh shit, we're in a Monty Python film. It's a dream. I'm waiting for Monty Python's foot to go. You know, it's a joke, and you can see it. It's taken nearly 2 years now. The majority of humanity are going, nah, nah. Okay, got me for a bit, fool me once. Yeah, I got me. You got me. I went through the experience which I had to go through, and nah, not now. And they're saying, nah, I don't choose that no more. And because the majority, I mean, there are billions, the only fear is not that you're perceiving, you're only going to perceive it if you watch the TV. That's it. That's it. If you take down the TV and the news media and everything, there's no fear. There's no nothing. There's just life. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, the media and the TV is designed to skew our perception to
Mm.
such a degree to make us believe in an illusionary reality.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
the controllers, whatever you want to call them, in our reality, the
Mm.
archons,
Whatever.
whatever they are,
Mm.
I think that there is something there that's making all these decisions. Now, what that is, I have no idea, and I'm not going to claim to know what it is, but they know that the belief and the perception around something is the ultimate consciousness that is the most powerful in our reality. So if they
Mm-hmm.
can skew the consciousness, they can shape and mold it over here and then get everyone to believe in a certain thing. It doesn't matter if that thing is real or not, because enough people have believed in it. It creates it in their reality. So the key here is how you change that, and how you do something is you shift your perception and you
Yeah.
shift your belief system,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when you do that, you're changing not only your own timeline, you're also helping to change the timeline of the collective, right? Because
Absolutely.
the dark side and the those people are very calculated. They're really together, right?
Hmm.
We have to be together and calculated on
Hmm.
this side, and we have to come together on this side to be able to match them on that side, because they've been at this for decades, Gloria. They've been doing this kind of brainwashing
Hmm.
and reality manipulation for so long,
Hmm.
right? And the awareness of the light side and the people on the other side of it hasn't been there for that long, right? So they have a leg up on a lot of people, right? We have to rise to the occasion. We have to shift our perception and realize that our beliefs um, change everything. And whenever
Hmm.
you change your beliefs, then you're able to perceive things in a different light and realize that negative things that are happening to you aren't really negative. They're just
Hmm.
your perception
Your
of
perception
it.
of it. No, I hear you. I mean, obviously, I come from non-duality, so I see what's happening. There's like three analogies. What's happening is that happened to push. That is consciousness pushing the awakening of individual conscious beings. If it hadn't happened, we wouldn't have what we have now. And through the past 2 years, it opened up a new timeline where billions around the world now are going, no, not doing it no more. It's been a journey. So I see what you're saying, and the belief systems are falling away. There gets a point where but the consciousness is pushing it for. It's the same principle. How can like macro, micro, like the individual work we do on ourselves, we do it on ourselves, then we all do it on the collective. So we're only seeing the collective consciousness doing the dark night of the soul. It's the same principle what you do individually. So as we all the beings have been individually working, especially the past 2 years, doesn't matter what went before, Ryder. And as that happens, that's on the micro, then it comes on the macro. And this is what the work's being done collectively. We're all coming together. There's billions waking up now, the podcast, the radio show, everything that's coming out. And I want to take this conversation because there's a question I need to ask you. Okay, I want to take this one to the next stage. Is have you noticed in the shift between the two timelines? I have noticed it. I know many others have noticed it. I've heard also other podcast hosts speak of this and ask the guests. I now put everything, ET, spirit, Bigfoot, everything, all under one umbrella, paranormal. It's all one. Have you come into that realization too? Or as you cross in, what was separate in the old timeline? Does that make sense? I go and study Bigfoot. I don't believe it. Or I go and study this, but I don't believe that. Now it's all in one. Does that resonate with you? The paranormal?
Yeah, I think that that's been because I've always thought that they've all been connected
Yeah.
in some
But I
kind
mean,
of way, but
collectively now.
yeah, collectively, it has started to shift because I think
Yeah.
that people are realizing that it's not a it's not a separate phenomenon, right?
Yeah.
Like in the UFO community, there's like a select group that want to keep it nuts and bolts,
Absolutely.
alien craft, like physical
Yeah.
craft, and then
Yeah.
there's another part of it that want to turn it into a consciousness and a spiritual
Yeah.
manifestation of these ETs. But they never really came together at all. They always separated it, right? They compartmentalized it on
Yeah.
purpose. And then you had the Bigfoot people that only
Yeah.
believed that it was, Bigfoot. They could go to a haunted location looking for Bigfoot. And if something happened, they would be like, oh, that's Bigfoot.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But then you
Yeah.
take the
Yeah.
paranormal researchers to another location, and they're just paranormal people. And then something would happen. They'd be like, "Oh, it's paranormal. It's ghosts. It's
Yeah.
spirits." You
Yeah.
know. Then you take a ufologist to the same location,
Hmm.
and they're going to be like, well, it was aliens, you know.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I hear you. Yeah,
I think that people are really realizing that it's all the same
all one.
phenomena,
Yeah.
and they're starting to kind of come together and put the dots together, and
Hmm.
because that's what we really needed to do. We all needed to work together and not be so strict in our beliefs and perceptions
Yeah.
surrounding it, right?
Yeah.
And be open to hearing what other people have to say about the phenomena. And then whenever you do that, you can start connecting the dots like a giant investigation on the wall. You can
Mhm.
start
Yeah.
putting strings together here
Mhm.
and over there, and putting a pin on the board over there, and being like,
No,
oh, okay.
I mean, I so resonate with what you said. Way back in the day, obviously, I'm an ET experiencer and I see dead people all my life. But back in the day, when I was playing my identity, I heard about like Bigfoot and I went, this shows you arrogance of the ego. And I went, no, no, that can't exist. But I was talking to dead people and ET, yeah.
Mm.
How arrogant is that back in the day? It wasn't, no, no, no. And so I totally understand that. And nowadays, people like I used to be, and you used to be when we were in our, identity roles, we, I can't say the word, compartmentalized, your big word, in different sections, and they were all against each other. I tell you, the worst one that I experienced was being a, what you call a contactee. Um, the UFO community way back in the day didn't want to know me unless I gave them nuts and bolts and what was the craft made of and what was this, what was that. They didn't want to know about the consciousness expansion of an experiencer who's experienced any dimensional being. That separated. That was the biggest one that I noticed. I don't know now if it's coming together. Maybe As yet, I haven't heard anything. But the separation was just vast like that, and I couldn't relate to the ufologists because they didn't want to know about what did it mean to me experiencing this contact. What did it mean? It broke every law of science. Yeah, it just broke the reality, not the craft. The experience itself was the gem there. The human experience of contact with another being was the gem that should have been investigated. Later on, you get the likes of Barbara Lamb and all of them. Yes, them lot do come into play with the regressions and things like that. Do you remember them days when it was just two separate camps?
Yeah, I mean, and it's still like that to a certain degree,
Is it
because
still like that now? No.
the academics in this field, they want to see, if they can't feel it, they can't see it, they can't touch it, then they don't think that it's real, right?
Yeah,
Because,
yeah.
and that's why they don't want to hear so much about experiencers and contactees that didn't see anything physical, or didn't see like a nuts and bolts
Mm,
UFO, or weren't taken aboard a craft physically.
yeah,
And that's the sad part of this, because it's a mixture, right? It's a mixture of technology and spirituality, right? And spirituality and science, right?
yeah.
And
Oh
and
God, yeah,
a lot of people have been just locked into the science
yeah,
aspect, right? And if they
yeah.
can't recreate it, and they can't wrap their mind around it, then
Mm.
they don't believe that it's real, because again, they
No, I hear
haven't
you.
had the experience. So it's
I hear
like,
you.
they I think that that's why they haven't taken into account the experiencers of the spiritual and consciousness side of it, and that's the
Hmm.
piece that's been missing, right?
Yeah,
They've had all of the physical things. They've gone as far as they can with
yeah, yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah,
the
yeah,
physical and nuts and bolts craft,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
there's still people talking about Roswell that happened 60, 70 years
I
ago,
know.
and
I
they
know.
bring that
I
up
know.
all the time, and I'm
Yeah,
like, yo, like, that was way, way long ago. Like, there's nothing there. We've researched the crap out of Roswell. That's over
mm,
with.
yeah,
We need to be
yeah,
going further in a different
yeah.
direction, and that's bringing in the spiritual and consciousness consciousness side, because that is a huge
Absolutely.
key in this entire equation.
I agree with you. And I've always said that because each time a contactee has an experience, it expands the consciousness and information comes in, more awareness, more knowing each time, and a knowing that you couldn't have got from anywhere. You've never studied, you'd never, I mean, we're talking science, we're talking technology, we're talking quantum physics, astrophysics, neuroscience. I could go on for eternity. And there are experiences all around the world coming up with writing books. Yeah. I call myself an audio book because I haven't got time to write and I can't be asked. That's just my personality. I can't be asked to write a book. Um, yeah, and this is, and I think in the new timeline, the discussions we're having now is about the part that was negated in the old timeline, and it's consciousness, the experience of being human, but consciousness experiencing being human, and going really deep, deep, deep down the rabbit hole and seeing what we're going to create, what possibilities could occur. Yeah. And for me, there's no restriction in the new timeline. There's none. There's no restriction. We create our reality on an individual basis. And if you link up with another soul that resonates with you, hint, hint, Ryder Lee, then, yeah, then you imagine the power source you got there, imagine the reality, and then eventually more would come in. I think very similar in what we've done in the past 6 months, really, between all the podcast hosts and the people watching the shows, connecting in, leaving their comments, sharing their experiences. Does that resonate with you, Ryder?
Yeah, it really does. And I think whenever we come together, individually, collectively, then we can do very, very powerful things. It's just
Okay.
that we really have to be on the same page with those things, right? And not bring in doubt, because doubt is the biggest killer of
Yeah. Yeah.
manifestation, and manifesting your own
Mm.
individual reality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have to trust ourselves, we have to trust our intuition, we have to trust our gut,
Yeah.
and trust our heart. And whenever
Yeah.
you dive as deep as you can into that,
Mm.
then nothing can go wrong. You have all the knowledge of the universe within you, right?
Mm.
Like we're amazing creator beings. That's what we're
Yeah.
here to do, is to
Yeah.
create. So
Great.
create your own reality, create your own timeline individually. uh,
Hmm.
do what makes your soul happy, do what
Yeah.
makes your heart happy. And your higher self and your spirit guides are never going to lead you wrong,
No. No.
right?
I
Even
mean, yeah.
the
Listen
negative
to the.
stuff in your even the
Yeah.
negative stuff in your reality isn't going to be negative anymore,
No.
because you
Yeah.
know that it's coming from a place to develop your soul, right?
Yes.
And present you with that opposition
Yeah.
in order for you to grow on an individual
Love it.
basis.
Yeah. I love it. I just want to say hi, Rob Yox. He said hi, Gora and Ryder. Love you.
Hello.
Um, there is, before we end the show, like I've spent, when I went over to the small island, I went over to the Isle of Wight, and I was on a very spiritual journey, and it wasn't just dimensional beings. As you know, I'm a medium as well, so there was a lot of spirits, and I always shut myself down because I'm a rescue medium, so I get the call when I'm needed. I just don't do platform and all that. I have my groups. I open a group for mediumship, but however, and I've been wanting from the get go to ask you a question. So, when I went on the island, let's finish on a light note, shall we? When I went on the island, obviously I tried to shut down the mediumship, but the island is so spiritual, the energy is so sacred, and so everything was all under the one umbrella on the island, like I just spoke about earlier on. Not only did I have a truth or a belief, I experienced it on the island. Everything in one time. And that's why I'm going to move to the island very soon and off the mainland. Um, so on the back of that, Ryder, have you ever seen a ghost? Have you ever experienced, I know you've experienced dimensional beings, you've had contact, I know that. Have you experienced a spirit, a ghost, the paranormal?
Yeah, I have. I've had paranormal things happen to me my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I think I've spoken to you about this on my show, on
Mm-hmm.
your show.
Yeah.
Whenever I was younger, I saw entities come out of the wall and surround me
Yes.
every night.
Mm-hmm.
And that really sparked my interest as a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, what are these beings? What are these entities? And then like I got
Yeah.
really deep into the paranormal because I wanted to understand it, you know.
Yeah.
So I started going to all of the most haunted places on the East
Yeah.
Coast, you know,
Yeah.
and doing these paranormal investigations. I had it all. Like I had the full spectrum night vision cameras. I had, you know,
Brilliant. Yeah.
audio recorders. We had DVR systems, you know, all this stuff. And it was me and my friend from back home, and we went to all these different places on the East Coast, and some amazing stuff I've
Mm.
seen and I've heard, you know, but I've really just kind of put that in the past because I felt like because I was really open to it and I didn't know what I was doing. I remember the exact time that I just like let go and like opened
Mm.
up to it, and
Mm.
I was able to experience things that people that were with me weren't really able to experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm glad I don't regret doing that because it's put me on my journey now.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely. It's part of it.
it was dangerous for me to
Mm.
do that, you know. And I'm glad that I've made it, you know, this far because that could have really and I think that that had a part of it. Like it kind of took me down a really alternate path that I
Yeah. I mean,
necessarily didn't actually have to go down, but I went down it anyway because I'm that
well,
kind of person.
you experienced it. I mean, I've seen dead people all my life, so I don't have any fear of it at all. And DT. However, I can tell you if I think, and possibly, even though I come from the truth I do, I'm sure if a Bigfoot jumped out, they don't live in the UK, by the way. Just thought I'd let you know they're all in your country,
Mhm.
so we don't have. You know, I better shut up because I'll attract it. I'm sure if I saw one, I'd go fuck, and I'd run most probably. You know, because
Mhm.
the size, whatever. However, you know, the reason I asked you, and I'm fully aware because you've spoken on the show before about this, is because everything's coming together on this timeline, and I'm hearing it from others. And the point is, I'm going to share, if you're happy, Ryder. Um, I had a whale of a time, but other people, and I was telling one of my children today and my son in law, and they're going, I'd be on a fucking chain, I'd be out the door, I'd be gone. But there is no fear here. This is what needs, this is coming, guys, and to prepare. You don't need to fear anything. Um, I stayed in this Victorian massive house thing, and it had back stairs, hidden stairs, downstairs, upstairs on a beachfront chair. And as soon as I walked through the door, I'd switched myself off. I was there to do the higher dimensional thing. This is where you just don't say what you're doing. Universe will take you where you need to go. And I walked in there, and as soon as I went in, I went, oh, fuck. And this woman, young girl, was showing me up the back servant stairs. It used to be, and I just said, "Oh Lord, you got servants." I didn't think, did I? You got servants. Spirits are walking everywhere around here, and that started it off. So I called it the House of the Dead. It was jam packed. Now she told me some staff members are in fear, you know, and I said, for me there is no fear. Don't worry. But I'm going to tell you. I want to share something with you. I was in this room. It was an old Victorian room, like a master bedroom, had a big bay window to see front. Yeah, so I know they're there. So I just say I'm not doing it. That's what I say. I'm not putting my attention. You put your attention on it, then you're going to attract it. Not because I feared it, because I was there for another reason. However, it didn't work. And I'm telling you, Ryder, the first thing that happened, I heard on my door
Mhm.
tapping, yeah, and outside my door, um, it's sensory lights, so the lights won't come on unless a being walks, yeah. and I watched it. The light would come on. Then I saw the door handle. It wasn't physically moved, but I knew they were trying to come in. And I said, I just said, I'm not doing it. All right. Went off. And all the time I was there, they would walk past, light would go on, they'd walk off. And because I was paying no attention, this is how it works, guys. I got into bed one night and I just laid there. I had a beautiful bed. It was wonderful. And you know what they did next? They turned on the fucking shower. They turned on the shower in, the ensuite bathroom. So, but when I was there, and it kept happening everywhere. And then we were going on paranormal hunts in the forest, and we found derelict houses. All we had was a phone for light. Yeah. We were on, and then I said, what is going on? And I couldn't get it. And then the awareness come and said, everything is coming under one umbrella. Everything is coming now, and there is to be no fear. So on the point of that, if anyone has any fear of spirit, I would suggest look at, why do you have a fear? Why? Because it's like if you experience something in the dimensional world with a belief system, that's going to bring you fear. But on this timeline, there is going to be more magic. There are going to be more experiences. It's going to be an experience even I can't even predict, but I know it's going to happen. How does that resonate with you? So you've had your experience back then you've gone on your journey. How does that resonate with you now after what you've experienced with the beings?
I'm the exact same way, Gloria. I don't bring my attention to it, and then I don't let the fear come in, because that's what a lot of them want. They want the fear, and they want to feed off the fear, and they want to mess with you. Now, some of it might not be 100% malevolent. It might just be them like testing you to see what they can get away with, and see if they can just have a laugh over there on the other side. You know what I mean? Like, they're with their buddies over there on the other side, and they're like, oh yeah, let's see if we can get this guy in some fear. Yeah, it'll be fun. You know what I mean? But
we don't know what they're doing. Just let them do it. That's what I'm saying. Just whatever you experience in 2022, whether it's I always have an agenda, Ryder, when I talk. Whatever you experience, whether it's the spirit world, whether it's ET, it's going to happen. It's here. Whether it's dimensional beings or angels or leprechauns or elementals or anything that you're experiencing, take all the fear off. If you don't, you got it. If you don't put your attention on it and fear it, it doesn't touch your energy, your frequency, your reality. Because once you do that, your frequency goes down. How does that sound to you?
100%. And like probably like a month ago, I was laying in my bed here at my place, and I felt the covers being tugged off of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and I like brought my awareness to it for just a second, and I was like, huh. And then I just went back to sleep. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like,
same as me. I was telling my son-in-law today, knocking on the door, and then the sensory light. You have to be an energy being to turn the light on. Yeah. And I just said, I'm not doing it. I wasn't bothered. And I just go back to sleep. And so they kept trying and trying to get my attention, a bit like the TV guys and all the doom and gloom. And they turned on the fucking shower. And I'm not doing it. Not doing it.
Yeah, I saw a shadow. I saw a shadow in my apartment yesterday when I was on the phone with Sally, and I saw a shadow. Like it wasn't very big. It was probably maybe like 4 foot tall, and it just like went from my kitchen like into my little hallway, like. And I was like, I told her, I was like, hey, like I just saw a shadow, and like that was it. You know what I mean? Like I was like, cool, awesome.
Yeah, it's normal. It's normal. So because I try and use analogies for those, to try and cover as broadly as I can different levels of consciousness. Is that a lot of, I'm going to bracket it in paranormal, is going to happen in 2022. and it's going to be exciting and it's going to be fun. But it's not just going to be mediums like myself, yeah, that are aware of it. It's going to be every conscious being is going to, the more you open up and drop that fear, you're going to experience wonders of the world, of this I don't know what even to call it a matrix, call it a film, call it illusion, but your experience is going to be so beautiful, where you start to create, and as you create, you're going to witness what is hidden will be revealed now. Now, because of the work that everyone's done for the past 2 years. How does that resonate with you? And then the rewards come. I don't use the word karma like you, but just use the word karma. What you put out comes back. And I feel that this year is going to be the year, it's already started, where the collective are going to start, even though that's going on, they're going to so realize I've got no fear, no more. I make my choices. The reality is going to change. And it's already changed on yours, hasn't it, Ryder?
Oh
Big
yeah,
time.
like within like the past month or two, it's really
Yes.
taken a huge
Yes.
upswing, and I was kind of informed that was going to happen, but again, my perception and my belief around it wasn't 100% there, because in the moment, Gloria, we tend to get down about it, and we get on our soapbox so hard that it's hard for us to perceive what it's
Yeah.
going to be like on the other side of it.
Hmm.
You know, we would let that get us down, and we do things and we self-sabotage ourselves a
Oh
lot,
God,
you know.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
self-sabotage is like a huge thing. Like whenever, you know, perceived negative things happen to us in our reality, and then we're like, oh fuck
yeah,
it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I'm just going to
yeah,
do whatever I want. Like, even though it's not good for me to be doing this stuff, I know
yeah,
it's not good for me to be doing this stuff, but I'm going to do it anyway, you
yeah.
know, because this event happened. Then
Mm.
I start to get the, you know, well, then who cares, right? And that's the self sabotage
Yeah.
part of it, because I think that that's what a lot of people do whenever things start piling up on them. They, instead of, you know, trying to resolve them and take care of them, we just double down on it.
Yeah,
We're a species of double downing
yeah.
on our negativity, and
We love it. We love hurting ourselves. We love it. For
yeah.
some, we're narcissists to ourselves. But, however, by having that recognition, Ryder, and you had a big awakening. We all have multiple awakenings, but when you went down, 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 and you were sabotaging yourself, then you realize I'm sabotaging. Just to have that awareness, it was through the experience, we all do it, of sabotaging ourselves, that we awaken. It's a process. Let me tell you, if you're fucking happy in that timeline over there, I'm so sorry for you. You maybe
Mhm.
next timeline, who knows? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But you if you're not experiencing something now, or have been the past 2 years, then I really would start looking within. But we need to go through that process of self-sabotage. It awakens us. It gives, because then we have the recognition, shit, I have no value for myself at all.
Mhm.
I don't like other people calling me stupid or idiot, or you can't do it, you're not an achiever. I don't like it. It offends me, by the way, but then I say it to myself. So I agree with you, Ryder. But that in itself is a process of what we call awakening, self-realization. Does that resonate with you on that one?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, we. Uh, I was just talking to Sally about this last night. I was like, because during 2020, I had a bunch of extra food, right? That I wanted to, you know, help people with, and I live in an
Yeah.
apartment complex, and
Mm.
so I just put the food outside, right? And I put a sign out there, like on a piece of cardboard. I was like, "Free, take whatever you need, and take whatever you want." And there wasn't like a bunch of stuff, but I felt like that I needed to try and help because I had an excess of it, and I
Yeah.
didn't want to walk around to each individual apartment and be like, "Hey, do
No,
you want
yeah, I
any
hear
food?"
you.
Because
Yeah.
people are more reluctant to just not take it whenever you offer it
Yeah.
to them individually. So I was like, I'm going to
Yeah.
make it to where people can just grab whatever they want,
Yeah.
and I set it outside. And then the next morning, I woke up and went outside and looked, and it was all gone. The cardboard piece was gone. All the food was gone, and everything. And I went and knocked on my neighbor's door, and then my neighbor told me that it was the landlord that took it and threw it all away.
What the fuck?
Right? Yeah, she threw away the cardboard. She threw away like all the food, and I was like, well, that's a really, shitty thing to do.
Mm.
Right. But I was focusing on the wrong thing. Like Sally was telling me, she was like, well, you put out that positive energy, right? You put that into the universe, and doesn't matter if she threw it away or not,
Still
you
there.
still put it out there. And then I was like, okay, well, but what a lot of people would do in that scenario, well, I mean, I don't know for sure, but
Mm.
I'm just guessing, is that they would take that scenario as they shouldn't do it again, right?
Yeah.
They shouldn't,
Yeah. Yeah. I hear
be
you.
nice and do good things for people because
Yeah.
this one person came and sabotaged it, right?
Yeah.
And then that gets into their consciousness, and they're like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that again. Even though I did the right thing and I was trying to be nice and I was trying to be loving and trying to help people, and someone came in and took that away from me,
Hmm.
then they would be like, okay, well, I'm just never going to do that again. But I
Hmm.
had the opposite reaction. Like, I'm going to continue doing that
Yeah.
no matter
Yeah.
what kind of opposition that
Yeah.
I get, no matter who tries to come in and
Yeah.
talk bad or talk negatively or says
Hmm.
something that I don't like or tries to sabotage
Yeah.
me. I'm
Yeah.
going to continue doing it because that's how we break out of this whole control system that's been set up. We
Absolutely.
keep we keep doing the right thing no matter
Mm.
what. We keep doing what we feel in our heart. We keep pushing forward and moving forward because we're going to break out of that control system that's been
Yeah.
set up with the indoctrination, with the
Yeah.
belief systems and everything. But so just don't stop doing the right thing, and don't
Yeah.
stop doing what's in your heart and what you feel in your soul,
Yeah.
right? And don't give up whenever the going gets tough, and stay true to yourself and stand with integrity, right?
Yeah.
And do what makes you feel good, no matter the opposition, no matter the person telling you that you
Mhm.
can't, no
Mhm.
matter the person that's trying to come in there and sabotage it and throw it away and throw it in the trash can, say that you're a piece of shit, that
Yeah.
you shouldn't be doing this. Keep pushing through. Don't listen to them. And you're going to that's going to make the biggest difference in the world, is to not let those things make a difference and change your way of being nice to people and doing things for people,
Mhm.
you
But the
know.
fact is, I mean, that's thank you for that, Ryder. That was I loved that. But the fact is, the first time you did it, that wasn't lost. It was the ignorant human being that thought, whatever they thought, to throw it in the bin. The action was done. It wasn't lost. It can't be undone, because as we say, we create our reality. So our words, our thought, our actions are magic. It's like alchemy. It's
Mhm.
energy. Everything we do is energy. And and it doesn't matter what another does. And you're quite right. That was beautifully said. Just keep doing it. It doesn't matter what other people. And let me tell you something, when you keep doing it, whatever it is, I'm not talking about just food, whatever you keep doing, keep smiling. They don't smile, you keep smiling. You
Yeah.
keep smiling, they'll either fucking piss them off,
Mhm.
or one day they'll smile back, and they're going to feel a joy that they haven't felt for a very, very long time. Once that happens, how you doing, with a big smile, and they go, that's now abnormal to be happy, isn't it? And they're going to open back up and get the feeling, that feels good, I want more of that. And then they'll go and speak to another. So that was beautifully said. You know what? I could chat for England with you, or America. On that note, but before we go, Ryder, it's been an absolute honor and privilege, and I really, wanted to. That's why I called it the new timeline. I really wanted to share as an example to others, anyone watching, and it just inspires me to keep going. Ryder's journey and the shift you made from a few months ago. I mean, to be honest, I got to say it. I thought you were suicidal. I thought you'd gone so far down that you wouldn't get out. And, it just shows you. And so the work that you've done on yourself, I mean, talk about the value you have for yourself. And I think that's beautiful. That's not vanity. That's not ego. To value yourself. I don't say love yourself because people don't like that. I say value yourself. To value yourself. So on that note, is there anything you want to advertise, as Chris Matthews says, haul yourself out with your adverts and your links and your.
Yeah, I mean, we always. I think that I'm a very strong individual, and I can
Mm,
handle whatever comes my way, and I'm always going to bounce back, no matter what.
ways.
No matter what's headed at me. I've been through way worse, right?
Yes, you have.
I've been through so many things in my life. So, what happened in the past 2 or 3 months that isn't even a flash in the pan
Compared to way back in the day. Yeah, I
compared
get
to
you.
what I've
You
been
bounce
through.
back. But on that note, before we go, have you noticed each time we've all gone down, all of us, but each time the going down is not as bad as you just said as the one before or the one before. Does that make sense to you? Each time it's like you're going down, but you're going up, so to speak. Does
I
that
think
make
that it
sense?
just really caught me off guard, Gloria, because everything was has been perfect for like the past 3 years. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I didn't really have any kind of problems. I didn't have any issues. And it just kind of came out of left field, and I think that that's really what um, that really got me down on it. But I knew
Look
that I
what
was going to come
happened.
out of it. I just needed to,
Look what happened though
yeah.
after that. Your world is changed now. Everything has changed. You've got more beautiful energies around you than before. Yeah, we're just going to keep smiling because we know the secret, don't we?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it, but you've got beautiful energies around you. You're creating your timeline, and I'm just so happy for you. I'm more than it's just joyous to see another, because I know what it feels like to go through the dips and the shit that we have to go through to get where we're going. So I just wanted that to come out in the show. So advertise yourself. Go on.
You can subscribe to Raised by Giants on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast. You can watch Raised by Giants episodes on Odyssey. You can download them on Spreaker.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Raised by Giants Pod, and then my personal page where I post really funny memes.
They are funny, by the way. They're a bit
Ride or die,
risque.
ride or die spirit.
Mm.
And I release a new episode every Tuesday at 6 p.m. PST. You can catch me there. You can also email me at raisedbygiants at outlook.com if you have any questions or you would like to get in contact with me. You can also follow Raised by Giants on Facebook at Raised by Giants. And thank you so much, Gloria. I appreciate you a lot. And this was a wonderful conversation, even though that it was super early in the morning and it took me a minute to get with it. But I got with it.
You
And
got with it and you nailed it. You nailed it. You always did. The last time I had you on the show, it was first thing in the morning, and you're going, "Oh my God, you think Gloria asked me questions," and you just nailed it. You nailed it. You nailed it. No, thank you for coming on and kicking off 2022 with me live on Open Minds Chat Show. And we will bring Ryder on again because I'm still waiting for something he's got to complete. His little PowerPoints. He's done two. I'm waiting for three. We won't say no more. And to everyone watching, I've hoped some of the shows helped. If anything resonates, please take it. If it doesn't, just put it to one side. Um, let's enter in this earth that we're on, 2022. Let's enter with a new consciousness. Yeah, let's not go. It's only memory. When you bring it up, it's just memory. It's been done and gone. Let it go, and just let's start creating your new 2020. It's not 2020, is it? It's 2022. I'm getting lost on the timeline now. Live your joy, live your excitement, no matter what anyone says. Do what makes you happy. Live by the heart. Yeah, smile, joke, and do what I did a couple of years ago. If you have to get yourself out of that sort of like, go and watch a load of comedies or comedians. I watched so many comedians, and some of them were naff. You know the word what naff means? I mean, like they were crap, but they were so crap they made me laugh, and I kept my energy going. I kept it going. So if you find yourself in a bit of a low vibration and you don't know quite what it is, go and watch your favorite comedian, you know, or go and watch Ryder's show, my show, or Chris Matthew on Forbidden Knowledge News Network shows. There's lots of things. Your shows are really, I mean, that you're amping up the quality. I'm telling you, Ryder, the questions you're asking, that's fantastic. Your shows recently, especially your
Thank you.
last one. Your last one with the lovely lady called Sally. Beautiful show. He's smiling again. Very informative. I'm telling you, I loved it. And I loved it so much, she's coming on my show. I mean, go watch Ryder's shows. Please do. He has some great guests on there. And on that note, everybody, thank you for watching Open Minds. Until the next time, it's bye from me in the UK, and it's bye from Ryder. Where are you in the USA, Ryder?
California.
He's California boy, okay? And it's bye from Ryder in California. Bye, guys, for now.
Bye. Thank you.